The Becky of Zimbabwe, part 1 has come and gone, but we saw some hooliganism act and some thuggery from the fans from both ends that led to the match being abandoned after Highlanders took the lead through Washington Navaya, who had come in as a substitute. This is the 15th episode of the Scalo podcast. My name is Washington Sibanda, aka Uma Rasta, Mpilo Hadebe. Muziwethu Hadebe. Without wasting much time, we are just jumping into it. On Sunday, the 15th of May, Highlanders played Dynamos, the Becky of Zimbabwe as it has been termed, and we saw some violent and ugly scenes. What really went wrong, Muzi?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for inviting me to the program, and very unfortunate scenes indeed that we witnessed at Barberfield Stadium, and this is something that has been happening over the years. And interesting, you like to term it the Becky of Zimbabwe. I have somewhat always resisted using that term because when you call it the Becky of Zimbabwe, you're fighting for Zimbabwe, and when one loses, what happens? So those are some of the narratives that have also, in my view, contributed to the challenges that we are now facing. But other than that, I think it's a question of indiscipline on the part of the fans. It's a challenge of our league not yet being truly professional. We claim the league to be a professional league, but there are certain things that are happening that are showing that we are not yet professional. And I think it's up to the administrators, it's up to us, the people who claim to love the game of football, to try and see what we can do to bring that element of professionalism. We really need to sit down and be honest to each other in trying to address the issue. Very unfortunate scenes indeed.
Indeed, very unfortunate scenes. The match, so much hype before the match. When the day finally came, we saw people coming in numbers. The match was filled with a lot of drama. We also saw a nasty injury to one of our Highlanders players in Andrew Tandi. But talking about that goal that was scored by Highlanders, Muzi, I'm sure that's when everything started. Highlanders scored. We saw their fans invading the pitch. I'm not sure whether it's allowed, but they will say that they've seen it happening in other countries. When the fans actually invaded the pitch, on the other end, we saw Dynamos players confronting the referee, and all hell broke loose, Muzi.
Yeah, Highlanders getting the goal, the Highlanders fans jumping onto the pitch. Some might want to justify that, but in my view, it's very unnecessary. It's a yellow card for me. It's just like a player who is excited and is celebrating, then he takes off his jersey. What happens? It's a booking. So whether you are celebrating or you are protesting and you invade the pitch, it's something that is wrong. It's something that needs to be really condemned, and it's something that needs to be addressed both by the clubs as well as the PSL.
So Muzi, talking about that, what role does the clubs have to do in terms of educating their fans? The fans will say that we are so excited, we wanted to express our excitement, our jubilation after our team had scored. But just like what we violated, that for you it's a yellow card. What should clubs do to try and educate their fans that invading the pitch is not part of celebrating, or it should not be part of our football in general?
I think in the first instance, what we actually need and the challenge that we need is identifying the fans, identifying the supporters. So it's important for teams like Highlanders, Dynamos, to a certain extent Caps United, because Caps United has got a huge following as well, to have a relationship with their fans, to have a relationship with their supporters. For example, here in Bulawayo, we all know of certain groups that move in numbers to come and support Highlanders, that move in numbers to go and cheer Highlanders away. Teams like Highlanders should be taking advantage of such groupings to put them in their structures, recognize them, it becomes very easy then to send a message. It becomes very easy for the fans to try and correct each other. At the moment, the issue of issuing statements each time there is a challenge, we will continue having those statements, which to me are just a public relations venture without really addressing the key problem. So to answer your question, it becomes very important for the big clubs, even also for the small clubs, to have that engagement with their fans. And that engagement can only come when clubs like Highlanders, Dynamos have recognized chapters which are recognized in their system. Highlanders at the moment has the South African chapter. They also have the Harare chapter. Those are chapters that are easily recognizable. You can talk to the chairman and say, we are facing this problem, talk to your members so that the issue is addressed. But overall, besides the club, the PSL and ZIFA also need to play a big role. For example, there should be, at the moment we lack incentives that can really stop such happenings. Maybe now it will be something that people will appreciate. For example, in South Africa, when the season starts, for you to be in the PSL, you get something. I think the last time I checked, it's $1 million rands for you to participate in the league. So if we have such incentives and the Highlanders fans jump onto the pitch, start of 2023 season, you remember your fans jumped onto the pitch? Well, withdrawing the funds. Simple.
So in other words, you're saying that the PSL should set an example when it comes to these two clubs. But Muzi, I'm sure there are quite a lot of contributing factors that has led to those ugly scenes that we have seen in our local football. I'm sure this is not the first match. We saw it happening in Mandaba when Highlanders played FC Platinum. We also had Dynamos coming to Baba Fields playing Blawa Chiefs. We also saw some fans throwing in missiles. Would you say that the level of officiating, because for so many they will say that the man at the center is the cause. Would you share the same sentiments that maybe the level of officiating has also contributed to such acts of violence from the fans?
It could be a contributing factor, and the PSL now and ZIFA need to sit down. The referees is the responsibility of ZIFA. So ZIFA needs to look at their training. ZIFA needs to analyze well the way the match officials are performing each match and pick it from there. But most importantly, I feel we also need a new generation of match officials. And this is up to ZIFA to invest in terms of training. There are funds that come from FIFA. Those funds need to be fully utilized in terms of the way we are assessing our referees, the way we want to train and groom a new crop of match officials that are going to come into the system. But I also feel like the clubs, us as well as the media, even the fans also need to appreciate the laws of the game. Not that I'm defending the match officials. We need to appreciate their contribution, what they've done to the game. But at the same time, there is also the danger of us, just complaining about them out of ignorance without appreciating the laws of the game. Also, the players, the discipline of the players plays a key role.
Indeed.
We have seen some players actually inciting the crowd. So that also needs to improve. Every decision, you see a player protesting that particular decision. So that has also contributed. It's something that we also need to address. That goes down to the discipline of the teams and the clubs.
Indeed, the players as well, I'm sure they really need to be disciplined. We saw on Sunday, Dynamos players mopping the referee, being led by one Frankie Mukarati. And then also moving on to another interesting one, security-wise. People complaining that the Z-therapy, the same Z-therapy, they were folding hands on Sunday when section of the Dynamos fans from the Mpilo End were uprooting the goalpost. Do you feel like the Z-therapy handled the situation well, or they could have handled the situation better? And also, I'm sure I've seen a lot of bouncers during the PSL matches. They were nowhere to be seen. I only saw them running into the pitch when it was already too late. So in terms of security, what can be done to correct what we saw happening at Barberfield Stadium, Muzi?
The PSL has said it's one of the reasons why they have suspended all the matches, so that they can revisit their event management, revisit their security aspect. Those are key issues that they want to address. We understand that there will be all the security officers of the PSL clubs will be meeting over the weekend to try and address the issue. We hope they will come up with a solution in terms of how they want to manage the situation. But turning to the police, I think they could have prevented the extent of the Dynamos fans tearing down the nets. That's simple. In as much as they could have been calm to try and avoid a Mandava issue where tear gas is thrown, there could have been other means, because they are experts, so there could have been other means to ensure that the nets at least were not torn down, a situation that resulted in the match being abandoned. So those are some of the issues that they need to address. It's difficult because BF is compact, so it becomes close to the fence. Unlike the National Sports Stadium, where for someone to move from the bay to the field,
yes.
I'm sure by the time it gets down, you'll be tired. Unlike at Barberfield Stadium, where you easily jump. So those are some of the issues that they need to look at and ensure that there is enough security to control, especially the high heat areas like your Soweto End and your Mpilo End stand.
Indeed, Muzi reckoning that the police could have done better in actual fact to try and handle the situation. So we are still waiting to hear the report from the Zimbabwe Republic Police. Highlanders have issued a statement and the Dynamos have issued a statement in regards to what happened at Barberfield. Muzi, what can we take from those two statements, one from Dynamos and from Highlanders, regarding what we saw happening at Barberfield?
Statements are good if they are genuine, unless if they are thrown as a PR issue, which is my concern. It's good they have shown commitment to try and address the problems they are facing, because these are two teams that have been involved in pitch invasion and in such disturbances already this season. Highlanders at Mandava, Dynamos against the Bulawayo Chiefs, soon after that penalty was awarded to Chiefs. Yes. And those cases have not yet been issued, and in terms of the verdict. And the issue, we understand, it's a question of the police coming late with their reports. As we speak right now, Highlanders, Dynamos, the match officials have submitted their reports. But as of reaching the weekend, I understand ZRP had not submitted their reports. Which is key, most likely, but which is key in terms of the PSL coming up with a verdict. So it tends to slow down the process as well. So the key issue is how the league is going to look at that and how fast they can come up with the verdict. Because one would say, if they had come up with the Dynamos Chiefs verdict, if they had come up with the Highlanders FC Platinum verdict, now, yes, the two teams would have come up with something which is more than just the statements, but implementing key issues to stop the violent acts.
So the Premier Soccer League also issuing out a statement that the local games have been suspended with immediate effect until further notice. So they want to engage all the stakeholders so that they can come up with solutions that are going to help our football to go forward. So this is the show for the people, and we did manage to engage a lot of fans, Muzi, and I'll just go through what the owners of the game, just like we call them, to say in regards to the ugly scenes that we saw at Barberfield Stadium. There is Zidao. He says that the PSL are the biggest hooligans. This is the worst decision they could have reached as the league's regulator. I'm sure he is referring to the suspension of all the matches until further notice. Then there is also Mdawini. He says the police didn't do their job. They just relaxed when Dynamo supporters jumped to the ground. I'm not sure whether Mdawini will just like what happened in Mandawa, but it's a story for another day. Then there's also Ta Oganube. Truth be told, yes, Boso fans were wrong for invading the pitch, celebrating the score. Yes, they were wrong for mostly throwing after Andrew's injury. But honestly, how does the referee run to those that are fighting and not to the injured? Injury Katandi, when he saw there was no one paying attention, he shifted his leg to show the Soweto fans the pain that he was in. That's when the fans were frustrated. That's when he was given attention. I-PSL ayihloniphe. They are stakeholders too. We are paid to watch the games. They should have consulted us too. Z-therapy is useless. More than 80% of their officers were at the Soweto End security. Security should be distributed equally, regardless of gender, tribe, or support. So Tangube raising another interesting one, that when Tandi was injured after that tackle from Mpilo End, the referee, when he got to that situation, he didn't attend to Tandi. I'm sure that could have also contributed to the Soweto fans reacting angrily and started to throw the missiles. But at the end of the day, throwing of the missiles is still a no, Muzi.
Certainly, there is no need, and it goes to the consistency also of the match officials. That's something that the ZIFA admin needs to look at. Even the appointment of the match officials, they need to grade their match officials, their referees properly, so that you get to, if you grade your referees properly, it becomes easy for you now to know the extent in terms of tension of a particular game. Then you know that you can appoint this match official for this particular game. Not that you'll be looking down upon the other match officials who are upcoming, but there is always a process in everything for you to reach a certain level. And let's not rush match officials to hang in this big game.
Yes,
but
yes.
The referee of the day is someone who is seasoned, is someone that we have seen him around in terms of the local league. Maybe the inconsistent part is something that the ZIFA referees committee needs to look at seriously.
As we round it off, the last of the messages is from Ubuhle Ncube. I've noticed the players and fans have also took this bait officiating as an advantage to misbehave. These days, players protest almost every charge of the referee, even when it was the right call by the referee. Just like what you highlighted, Muzi. If players stop mob confrontation with ref and to each other, there won't be pitch invasion. And I believe lavo ref bazat ukwehlisa uvalo le pressure bachaye kuhle without fear or favor. That is Abuhle Ncube. I'm sure Muzi, you touched about it, that also players, they really need to be to be disciplined. Just to maybe to round it off, Muzi, it's been an interesting league so far, 15 weeks of football, and the two teams that we are really talking about, Highlanders and Dynamos, they've had different fortunes this season. Dynamos, all right, doing so well, sitting at the top there. They're now second to chicken in, pending the decision that PSL is going to give in regard to their result against Highlanders. But for Highlanders, it's been a struggle, and there have been some changes. Just after that Dynamos match, changes happened at Highlanders. What will be your assessment of the first 15 games of Muzi? Just short.
Quite interesting, and for Dynamos, I think they took advantage of the many teams in Harare, playing, I think, 5 consecutive matches at the National Sports Stadium and capitalized on that to gain maximum points. For Highlanders, it's been a struggle, but quite interesting when you look at the fired coach Mandla. On key games, he's been picking points. You look at the FC Platinum match, of course, there was the issue of the penalty there, but he had taken the lead. You look at Cape United, equalized. He has beaten Dynamos twice. So I think it has been more than just the coach. It's just something that is missing. And then maybe the new coach who is coming in will manage to motivate the players better. Lulu, a bit unlike in some instances, but grinding key results, but just losing out when it comes to the smaller teams.
So ezakubulawa azidlali vele ungadlisa beef ikoni We saw Tawachera losing his job, so was Mark Mate, then now Mandla Lulungpofo. He has also joined that wagon. This has been the 15th episode of the Skalo podcast. Today we are talking about the violent and the ugly scenes that rocked the Berkeley of Zimbabwe that was played at Papafield Stadium. We also touched on the new setup that is coming at Highlanders. We wait to see whether they hunt for the new coach. They are saying that they are hunting for Hunt. We wait to see whether Hunt is going to land in Wabulawayo to come and lead the Highlanders Football Club. Muziwethu Hadebe, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been such a pleasure to have you around.
Always my pleasure.
So this has been the 15th episode in Mpilo from me, Washington Navaya, aka Rasta, and the Mpilo Pictures team behind the scenes city. Peace.